Okay, so today we're starting a new format of communication with our community, and it's a podcast. We wanted to bring out this podcast to the community because we want to show them everything that we have been working on during the last few years and how the industry changes have impacted us as a company and also our products and solutions. We're going to be reflecting on the things that have been happening on the market, in the payment industry, and how everything was combined with crypto and Web3 impacting us and our decisions. And together with Dejan, I'm going to try to take you through the evolution of our product and bring you to today's product and solution and everything that we're planning for the following year. So maybe we can start just by shortly talking about GoCrypto and maybe everything that was happening during last year, also maybe even a year before that, and just bring us to why are we now the payment infrastructure that we are and why are we dealing with the payment industry in the way that we are.
Thank you very much, Danila.
You're welcome.
Our Chief Marketing Officer, by the way, if you don't know her, Danila joined us, what, a year ago?
A year ago today, yeah.
Yeah, and we're really, really happy to have her. She's extremely smart, extremely talented person, so thank you for being with us. Yeah, well, when it comes to payments, well, let's talk about the market in general first. It's very challenging. You like this word, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's very, very tough. It's very hard. Because with the year, let's say from 2017, when we opened the company and up to now, every year it's more and more difficult. And I'm not talking about, building the product and penetration of the markets, but the regulations and faster spread and just, being in the crypto business, it's becoming something that it's, very challenging. I won't go deep into this, but I must admit that if I would knew that it's going to be so challenging when it comes to regulations and legal, if you want to be really on the right side, on the safe side, it's maybe a better word, then maybe we would not do it in this way as we did. But yeah, things like last year that happened with Sam are making everything much worse. And I'm not saying that, that these things, that these situations that are happening are not making us stronger. They do, but they're also taking a lot of time and focus. And more of these shit things happening on the market, the harder it is for legit companies in crypto to actually achieve the goals that we want to. And if somebody says, well, the adoption is going to be faster because of the whole bunch of projects failing, I think it's a wrong thinking.
But when you look at the payment industry, not just the crypto, but you also have now digital payments, which are increasing in the last few years, and everything that's happening in the payment industry overall, and also the decrease in the card payments. How do you think that impacts us as not just as a company, but also as an industry?
Well, I think digital payments are accelerating. The general understanding of how crypto and blockchain actually works. But still, blockchain in general and cryptocurrencies in general are extremely complex to majority of average Joes. So it's a momentum we still need to achieve where crypto and blockchain and all these things will be so simplified that really everybody will be able to use it. So when it comes to payments, I cannot say that we already reached the chasm, the situation where things is becoming mainstream. No, because if I compare it to the card payments and cash payments and even digital payments, they're still representing less than 1% of all the transactions. But what I'm 100% sure is that the technology is becoming so advanced, especially in the blockchain and crypto and payment side connected to that it will be extremely hard to beat it. So with a fact, this technology will once become the mainstream and probably the general use of when it comes to payments. But the momentum, you need to survive to that momentum to happen. And that's one of the most difficult things for majority of all the crypto projects, or majority of the crypto projects in the world, as I see it.
But if I take us back to, let's say, March last year, or was it April, when we decided to move in a different direction, providing the full infrastructure for payments, what was the main reason why you took that decision, and why you took it from, okay, we have a holistic POS, to we are now the full infrastructure?
There were two things. One thing is, I didn't want to spend hundreds of thousands of euros and dollars and everything on building the POS network because of marketing aspect. Many of the companies are building any kind of this integration, payments, all these things, just because they want to showcase the usability of the token. For us, that was not the case. So the first thing was how to make money with what we're doing and still be with the, going into the direction to become a technology provider and not the implementer or the post distributor on every market. You need to understand, if I come with a POS or with any kind of a payment to a new market that I want to open by myself, first of all, I need to understand the market. Every market is very different. I need to check the regulations and apply to different kind of licenses. Once I have that, I need to open the office, find the people, see the whole market potential, because some markets are not having enough meat in matter to survive. Check my competition, and then eventually start spitting it out, coming on the market, doing sales, making sure that there's enough POS devices, the whole 24/7 support. It takes a lot of things to put together if you want to conquer it by yourself. So when we open the holistic, we open it just because of that. We wanted to make sure that the merchant that accepts crypto, that it's the same flow as if the merchant will accept a card, so that they don't mix any more crypto, fiat, card, whatever. Everything is on the same device. Everything has the same UI. Everything works smoothly. The merchant doesn't even have to understand anything about crypto to accept crypto. The second thing was, let's process multiple payment options in order to make money. If we process card payments, we always make some money on the processing. If we give the infrastructure also to the other players, let's say other wallets, dealing with digital payments or buy now, pay later models or loyalty cards, we offer them the infrastructure, they can hook to it. But we as a company, we never wanted to be the guys who are opening market one by one, going with our POS and our sales team and our company and our everything over there. No, we said Switzerland's going to be our market, our sandbox, where we're going to showcase everything. This is where we put our foot on the ground. Okay. We have our team, we have our company over there, we have the apartment, we have, everything, the regulations, everything. But when it comes to, let's say, Slovenia or Balkans or Belgium or UK or France or even Caribbean, El Salvador or Uruguay, we want to be the technology provider. So we give you the whole tech, we white label it to you, we make sure that all the payments, back office systems, everything works as it should. You get all the tools from ours connected to the merchants, from the onboarding, merchant dashboards, off-ramps, on-ramps, everything. We hook it for you in some kind of a way that you just, in the end, pick the acquirer that you want to have a processor for the card payments, and you open the infrastructure to everybody else. We actually showcase you the business model that works, let's say, in Slovenia with Lab4Pay. They're doing a great job. And we give you all these things. We even give you the hardware. So we basically search for existing players on the market dealing already with these old POS devices, and we exchange them for the new ones that can make them much, much more money. And in this way, we start spreading. So becoming from somebody who was providing at the beginning a web POS for accepting crypto, then to a physical POS where you could also buy and sell crypto and accept crypto, to to a web-based system in e-com, whatever, and the physical POS for holistic, we're coming to a point where we say we cover all the payments in all kind of a form, Web3, e-com, physical, whatever, brick and mortar, and we are opening it to everybody who wants to deal with it. The only parameter is what country, and are you already in this kind of a business? Because if you're already in this kind of business, you're a perfect fit for us.
And what did then happen? So last year we had this great project in Switzerland with Lugano Plan B. We had a great starting point there. But in general, we will go back to Lugano. But I just want to ask, in general, if we look at crypto payments during the last few years, I saw the trends. I know that they are increasing. But what is your overall expectation? How far will they go until we reach the mainstream?
It's going to be market specific.
Okay.
So I believe that in unbanked markets, markets with high inflations, the adoption of crypto is going to be faster, and in other markets slower. But when it comes to Lugano, you can see that's a market that basically doesn't have a problem when it comes to payments, but maybe it has a problem when it comes to remittance, because you have a Swiss franc that you want to send abroad. Well, how much does that cost? Can we maybe solve that problem eventually? Mm-hmm. And Tether did a great job. Tether was really showcasing that everything is possible on the stable side with a stable currency, and that you can solve a high inflation problem, a remittance problem, and a payment problem all in one. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we said, well, this is what your currency does, and we believe in that. But our tech is doing exactly the same, and we could use your currency and hook it and solve a lot of problems with it, And then we started to collaborate, Plan B, the city of Lugano, everybody, joined forces. And we're just now showcasing a model in a sandbox that can be copy-paste to basically any country. If it's a high inflation, it has a high remittance, or even if it's just a casual country that doesn't have these kind of problems. Bitcoin and crypto in general gives you freedom. And if we really want to enable this freedom to everybody in the world, many of these technologies and many of these things we built needs to be open source, or open for anyone basically to use them and push it in their countries where they live or where they do business.
With Lugano, we had a great start. At the beginning, there was the forum, the Plan B forum, and a lot of people were there, and they learned about what we are doing in Lugano. And then a lot of people were actually spending crypto there. And then the whole initiative is constantly pushing people to spend crypto. But do you think that these kinds of projects can be done without any of the parties? So if we only implement the infrastructure without the other side, like Tether pushing the adoption on the user side, do you think it would be possible, or is it something where you really need to collaborate on all sides to get it, to close the circle?
It's easier if all sides co-work or team up and try to nail it. But basically on the markets where you really have a problem, people will drive the adoption by themselves. Mm-hmm. Like in El Salvador, you have 65% of people who are unbanked. Only 16% or something are having credit or debit cards. So I was wondering a lot of times, like, if there's 65% of people without a bank account, how do they receive cash? So let's say, if I work in the US and I want to send some money to my family, how do I do it? Of course, I use the Western Union and all these things, right? But they charge a lot, and when El Salvador accepted Bitcoin as legal tender, I was one of the most happiest people, because this is basically solving one of these problems of remittance. And the second thing was, wow, 65 low-hanging fruits are going to become owner of a wallet that eventually will be used as their bank account. Yeah. But they will basically control the money, and there won't be anyone in the back. So the idea is amazing. but the usability of the tech, the complexity of all these moving parts, it's just still too techy. And we eventually are simplifying these things as everybody in the industry, in the ecosystem, but it will still take another few years in order to really achieve the chasm where we will say, well, this is it. You know, but the future is very bright, and many of the countries are looking into this and trying to maybe, I won't say eliminate the banks because that would be stupid, but maybe just, offer a second option to people and not rely anymore just on banks. And I like the idea.
But I know that in our community, a lot of times we get those questions, markets and licensing. How are we going to tackle those challenges in this year? Because I know that during the last year, we had been fighting a lot to get a lot of them. So what is the plan for this year? How will we tackle the markets and the licenses, especially the unbanked?
It's very challenging. You like the word, right? Yeah. In some markets, it's almost impossible because it takes so much time and so much money that eventually you run out of gas and you die. So what we're looking into it's the markets where governments are advanced in a way they say, well, we should check this out. We should try this technology. We have high inflation, or we have high remittance, or people in general are unbanked. So these things are all the triggers. And when people are asking us, look, we're going to enable it to the whole world. And then the client on the market, the first thing we will check with them is the regulation. And then we see which things, which features, which products can we apply to it. And eventually, if we see that the potential is huge, we obtain the license for specific, products. But in general, for me, what my idea would be is that eventually all the payments become decentralized, like with GoCrypto 2.0, where we don't care anymore if there is a license or no license. It's an open source solution. It's fully decentralized. We never touch the money, and the merchant can always decide, will they accept a currency or not, and which currency will they accept and which currency will they hold. It's just put in a really nice way of user experience, more simplified, and allowing basically everything that crypto can offer. So look, in some countries we're going to go with one model, in some countries with another model, but basically the whole idea stays the same: to solve these problems that crypto can solve, and push really the idea that everyone deserves to send, accept, spend money in any kind of a form, maybe even invest. So,
but what do you think is the future of money? What do you personally think is the future of money at this stage?
It's a good question. I see money of the future fully digitalized, and you can decide, will you trust somebody so that you become a custodian, or will you trust yourself and you hold all the strings. So the future will be in these two directions. What I think is going to happen, that these young generations, even my generation, Epsilon, and all these things, we will maybe go into the direction of holding the funds by ourselves, especially for the people who have a lot of money. And older generation maybe will not be able to adopt to this high-tech stuff. So maybe they will stay inside of these segments of, trust the bank, trust the government. However, we also trust the bank, we also trust the government, but we simply trust ourselves more than to these two guys. So the future of money will be fully digitalized, where you can decide how will you spend your money and keep your money, how will you convert it, which currencies will you use, how will you send money. The money transmittance should be instant, like the sending money should be instant. It should be very cheap in Meta to pay for something, and you'll be able to change the value. Like if you don't trust this currency, then you'll go in this one and that one. But let's see how governments and how countries will adapt to this and how they will react to it. Maybe it could be a dangerous field for them supporting something like that. But I really think like that Bitcoin is a currency or blockchain in general is unstoppable. I mean, somebody did it for a purpose, and somebody opened it for everybody. And if people like it, like it's difficult to stop them. You can limit, you can change everything around it, but if it's beneficial, if it's logical, you won't be able to kill it.
Do you think like we're now creating a solution that could disrupt the payment industry with the thing that we're doing with GoCrypto 2.0? Do you think that will be widely accepted first by those by the crypto community that really believes in the core crypto values, or do you think that the wider community will understand the benefits of these payments? And if I may combine to that your thoughts on, is it really decentralized when we talk about blockchains, or is there a way to control them, and is the community afraid of that?
I mean, it's a great question. So if we go to the question number one, basically I was asking the community, so what are we gonna really solve in the beginning with GoCrypto 2.0? Yeah, payments is one thing, and opening a company and issue the invoices and pay by link and all these features around it. But I think with the GoCrypto 2.0, the first thing we will really solve is the remittance. And then the second thing eventually will be, once you get the cash into your merchant dashboard, you pay your suppliers, you pay to your employees. So basically it's becoming like a bank thing, And what I'm trying to do is that this merchant dashboard will become decentralized, that you send out the money in any kind of form. And we would centralize this whole decentralized payment network just in the end, when the merchant decides, all right, I want to have the cash on my bank account. So the off-ramp, the broker part, is a centralized thing because you need to trust your money to somebody that exchanges and converts your money and sends to your IBAN. But otherwise, if you're keeping crypto in any kind of a form, stable, Bitcoin, whatever, we don't touch it. And we actually support cross chains, different currencies, everybody to join, everybody to be part of this initiative. And eventually building this scheme that it will be extremely beneficial for the end user and everybody around it. So this is one part. The second question was
the blockchain part.
Trust me. Like, look, I think in the end it's going to be more as with the cars. Which is the safest car? Which is the cheapest car? What is the best price performance for a car? People have different opinions. People see different things with different eyes, so everybody will have their favorite. One is for sure that Bitcoin is probably the only fully decentralized currency in the world, right?
Yes.
And then maybe Tether is going in that direction. You're probably addressing miners, and all these things. All right. As I see it, like everybody will be able to use pure crypto solution or hybrid or custodial or even a bank later on. So people will decide, and eventually, if you want to lose people's trust, all you need to do is to be Sam. No, I'm just kidding. Like, it's just like if you stop being transparent and honest with some things, and the people can really ask you a lot of things, and that you answer them, and that you can prove what you're saying, till that point you're not losing the trust. As soon as you lie once, 2 times, it's over. So basically like in a relationship, 1 lie, 2 lies, it's over. But yeah, I mean, people will decide.
So when we talk about this new protocol, the GoCrypto 2.0 network that we are working on, what I love about it is that, okay, so we have this protocol where you go make a payment and there's a fee, a very, very low fee, and all of the fee goes to the DAO. So nothing is, if I can say it like that, yeah. So everything is distributed to the network and to everybody in the network. How hard was it to make that decision? Because you decided to make a protocol that actually holds the protocol on its own and makes it self-sustainable. That doesn't need investors, companies, etc. It's self-sustainable. If it's used by the community is getting back from it. Was that something that you were reflecting on for a long time, or was it like a normal decision to make?
I would lie if I would say that it was a simple decision, because if we open the fees, the main revenue stream that we're actually having, to people, it means we're not generating revenue anymore, right? But on the other hand, if you want to leave a legacy, and if you really want to change the world, you have to it's easier to find a different business model, but basically leave a legacy and revenues to people where they will see the benefit and the whole usability of GOC token and everything. So it was a difficult decision. I've been thinking about it a lot, talking about months or even a year. But in the end, I said, like, look, that's the way to go, and let's decentralize payments. Let's open this whole thing to everybody. Let's showcase what's possible and how it could be done. And yeah, and let's just simply try it, like, you know, and we'll see. The time will tell. I think we did a right decision, and for us, it's much easier to find a new business model than find the true usability of a token. And I think over here we're showcasing how much we really care towards the token, and also with the fact that we never sold any of our tokens.
Okay, and if we talk about the payment infrastructure, and let's say I will use an example. I'm a freelancer, for example, and I work for a company that pays only in crypto, and I'm like, okay, there's this cool protocol that I can use. I can make my invoice. I don't have to look like a freelancer anymore. I can look more legit, even though my country maybe doesn't want to give me a legit position because I'm a freelancer. And I use this protocol for payments, and you go and you pay me, and everything is decentralized. But there's a moment where I want to be a part of this network, where I want to become legit. Can I do it as a freelancer, or do I have to be a company to do it?
So, first question is, where do you come from as a freelancer? From which country?
So that has an impact.
I mean, that's very important. Like, pick a country.
Pick a country. Okay. Let's say Nigeria.
Okay. In Nigeria, it's probably very similar to over here. If you do a business for somebody, and if you have an option to issue an invoice, you need to issue an invoice, and it needs to be taxed. So in this kind of a way, you have two options. You issue an invoice to your bank account, you get the money to your bank account eventually in a few days, or however they cut the fees. There are the exchange rates and whatsoever. Or you already have a company. Let's say a legitimate freelancers. They have a company already, and what they just do, they create the invoice and input their company inside of the decentralized payment protocol, and eventually they immediately issue the invoice together with the pay by link module. And then whoever is paying for this is having a legit invoice coming from a legit company that he can verify in Nigeria, and it can, it pay the taxes with it if it's needed. If it's not needed, then you don't have to pay the taxes. But in the end, the freelancer gets stable coins or any kind of coins. And if he wants to show the revenue in his company and in the end of the year pay the profits, that's the way to go. So it's his decision.
Okay.
If he says, I don't want to pay taxes, I want to avoid it. It's your call. It's your fault. You had the option to do it in this kind of way. But basically, there are many countries where the system doesn't work like that. You don't have a bank account, or it's not so easy to receive money from abroad. Well, this is then the perfect solution. And there's another thing that is very important. So even if you're a freelancer, for example, coming from Nigeria, and in the end you want to have the money on your bank account, not inside of your wallet or cold storage or an exchange, there will be in Nigeria a broker to which you can send the money and he will do the offering for you and do the KYC and all these things. But in the whole process of the whole decentralized payments, I don't need your verification of identity. But you need it if somebody touches the money and exchanges the money, then we need, not we, but the broker needs to know who and how did you get this money from, and there are some AML checks and whatsoever.
So basically we're giving the freedom to people to decide, do they want to stay fully decentralized? If they want to, they can do it, no problem. And if they want to do it banked, they have to go through KYC. That's what we are offering with this new...
The system is decentralized.
The payment system.
The payment system, the whole flow.
Yeah.
But if you want to identify yourself, then that's a different situation, because you can do the whole decentralized payment, accepting and the receiving crypto, everything through a decentralized network. Yes. But if you want the offering, you need to identify yourself in order to get the fiat to your bank account. So what's going to happen, what I think, at the beginning they will, so it's always like that. They first laugh at you, and then they fight you. And I think we're now in the fight position where they try to fight against the KYC, AML, more strict regulations and everything. And then eventually they start to respect the whole tech, and they try to adopt it because they see the value in it. And keep in mind, still 99% of all the money laundering is happening through the bank system. And cash is still, in many hats, the king. And you can transform a lot of cash to a lot of places, and nobody will actually know. So these over-regulating things, it's the momentum of war. Now the next momentum will be respect, and then you win. So this is what I have in my head all the time, because if a technology is so beneficial towards the people, you won't be able to kill it. And everybody will fight to keep this tech in order to solve further on the problems. And eventually the smart banks are already starting to use blockchain and crypto in their benefit. And yeah, I mean, people should look and stick to and support that kind of moves, or El Salvador or Lugano. These guys are the trendsetters.
Do you think that the technology, the blockchain technology, after we release everything and they see how it works, that the others are going to start adopting it? Or are we far away from that adoption period?
I'm sure that when it comes to the payments and remittance, we're 2 years in front of everybody.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we won't go into the fight position, but in an open hand position. It means, like, if you like the tech, use the tech, hook to our system, bring your blockchain on board, bring your currencies on board, use our bridges, swaps. If you're a broker, hook to the broker network. If you're an ambassador from a country that's having this kind of problems, please write to us. We would love to work with you. If you are an ESO, somebody already in the payments, having POS devices or dealing with remittance, write to us. So there is a solution, a technology, we can give it to you, and we all make with that revenue, but at the same time we all solve the main problems of this world connecting when it comes to payments or money remittance. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be an open call. Everybody can join.
Okay, I will now finish this episode, and we will go into talks about GOTS and the impact that all of this network will have on GOTS, but we will release that in another occasion. So thank you for listening, and we hope to talk to you soon.
Thanks.